Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Austin, and this channel is all about digging deeper and going further to better understand faith and film and everything that is in between. If that's exciting to you and you're new here, you can subscribe for a new video just like this one every week. Breakfast Club is a movie that I have not really put off seeing for a long time, but I have just not seen it until obviously recently. So I'm going to go back really quick, give you the quick introduction of me about to watch the movie, and then we'll come right back to here. Let's do it. So it has been nearly a year since I kind of sort of started a series on I watched something for the first time, and I'm doing it with kind of classic movies that I've just never gotten around to. Recently on my channel I talked about how I'd never gotten around to The Breakfast Club, so in today's video I'm finally watching The Breakfast Club for the first time. I got the menu queued up right now. I'm really excited about this one. I know this one inspired a lot of great stuff. John Hughes is one of his most popular movies, and it is just a great classic movie that I've just never gotten around to. I'm super excited to check it out. So without further ado, I'm going to get this started, and then I will see you again when I've seen it and tell you my thoughts and everything I've thought about it. So let's do this. Finally now, after seeing this movie, I do not feel halfway ashamed to wear my The Second Breakfast Club shirt. Obviously, this is a reference to both Lord of the Rings and The Breakfast Club, which my friend got for me a couple years ago. And I've been halfway ashamed to wear it every time I do because I'd never seen The Breakfast Club. So finally, I fully earned wearing this shirt. So I'm actually kind of glad that I didn't see The Breakfast Club until around about this point in my life. And the reason I say that is I don't know if I would have appreciated it as much as seeing it as more mature young adult. I think I would have enjoyed it and liked it if I'd seen it as a teenager or even into college, but I think seeing it now and kind of in the transitional point of my life that I'm in of turning from a young adult to just an adult, I think it's very timely of all of the aspects and parts of life that this film goes through and discusses. Right off the bat, we jump into the movie with some awesome 80s music. It automatically just puts me in a happy place when I hear 80s music. I know I'm a 90s kid, but I love me some 80s music. It just feels so good. I really enjoyed in this film that it's just a group of people who are kind of forced into one room and they just got to spend a lot of time together. I think it's really cool to see what people can do in that kind of an environment. Most movies are just big and sprawling all across the city or country or the whole world, but it's cool when you just see what happens when a bunch of people are put in a room together and what they do. And I think this was definitely one of the best movies I've seen in that regard, and I really liked all of the different intricacies and things that they looked into through each and every character and their own uniqueness. I will say it took me maybe about 30 minutes to get into the movie. In the initial opening, I really liked it. I thought that was really cool that they put the, I believe, David Bowie quote up there. And it was kind of cool because it says here's the established parental expectations for their child, and then they straight up just shatter those because it's look, we're gonna shatter those expectations. That's what this movie is all about. So I thought that was really cool. At least that's how I interpreted that moment. And then we jump in, we're quickly introduced to each of the characters. We get just a very small glimpse into a few of their lives at home, which is really cool because they all go in and you're just spending the first maybe 30 minutes or so, 45 minutes, the whole first act, kind of getting to know these people, their background, that kind of thing, what they've each experienced in their upbringing that brought them to the point they're at. And I really thought that was cool. They definitely each play into their own kind of stereotype or archetype, and I thought it was really cool to see that develop and flow throughout the story. I'm sure frequent viewers are familiar with the main purpose of them all being in this room is they're trying to figure out, or at least they're being told to figure out who they are. And I thought that was a really cool question to pose at the beginning, because as you're told in the beginning from Brian when he's doing his voiceover, these people within this 8-hour period completely change unknown to the world around them. And I thought that was a really cool way of looking at it. And so they're faced with this question of who you are. And initially they completely ignore it, just trying to pass the time and button heads with each other, that kind of thing. But eventually, as we come to find out in the end, they come to a point of appreciation for each other. And my favorite scene in the movie is probably, I would say the library scene, but the whole movie takes place in the library. So my favorite scene in the movie is probably the scene in the library where they're all sitting down towards the end in a circle and they're giving each other the reasons why they are there, so for different reasons. One of bullying, another one of failing grade, that kind of thing. And I just loved how they completely opened up to each other. Not long before this, it's funny because they're kind of going through each other's wallets and bags, and it's like, it's funny because that's a way of like, the one girl's like, you want to know what I have in my purse? And they're like, no, and she just dumps it out. And it totally shows to each of their personalities of kind of how open they are to each other. Like, she's kind of labeled the basket case, and she just throws her life at everyone and is so used to neglect and all that that she just expects that from all of them. So she just throws everything she has at them. And I just found all of that really cool. Now, I'm not trying to say I'm kind of an expert or anything like that. I am greatly looking forward to future viewings of this movie because I could tell, even just finishing the first watch through, that this is a movie you pick up little things here and there each and every time you watch it and grow to appreciate it a little bit more, understand the characters a little bit more, and love the story a little bit more. And so I'm really looking forward to future viewings where I can better understand each of the characters, because it's a lot to take in the first time, especially from my perspective, where this is a pretty hyped up movie. A lot of people consider it one of the best like high school movies. Obviously John Hughes is held in such high regard for his writing, and I didn't know that he also directed this movie. I think it's the only one of his movies that he wrote and directed, so that was really cool too. Another thing I found really cool about this movie is the assistant principal. He's kind of a just straightforward guy, but it's cool how in a couple of scenes throughout the film we actually get a little in-depth look at him, and I really appreciated the scene where he sits with the janitor and has a talk of like, look, these kids are always changing, we just can't, and blah blah blah, and then the janitor's like, no, the kids are the same, they're dealing with the same stuff. It's you who's changed since you've been here, because he'd been there like 10 or 15, 20 years or something. And I really appreciated that. And it's reminded, again, in the end of the movie during Brian's final monologue, where he says, you see us as you want to see us. And it's so easy to just, after so many years of him seeing these kids in this way, and in his mind thinking they're getting worse and worse, where he's the one who's changing. All kids go through the same types of issues, may it be through different generational gaps and stuff like that, but they all generally go through a lot of the same stuff. And I thought that was a really cool way of looking at it. I absolutely loved the full circle moment in the end where they're, in the beginning it says like, you know, there's a brain, a basket case, an athlete, you know, all that kind of stuff, the criminal. And then it comes back around in the end and it says, we are all an athlete, a princess, a basket case, like all that. We are all pieces of each other. Though we have, based on our lifestyle and upbringing, prominent traits in that area, we all have a little bit of each other in there. And it's important to recognize and embrace that. And it wasn't until that point in the film where each of the characters saw that, that they grow to actually become friends and understand each other. If that is not a prevalent and important message, especially for today, of all the issues going on right now, we just need to look in and recognize that we can see each other in each other. And we're all a little bit of each other, and we can embrace that to further grow our love and appreciation for each other. I just like that that timing worked out with me watching this movie for the first time and all these issues that we're dealing with right now. I think it was perfect. And I also, on that note, The Breakfast Club is pretty timeless. Obviously there's, the music is the 80s and there's a lot of 80s vibes being put off in this movie, but like at its core, it's timeless. Like the messages and the issues that are being dealt with, it's really cool. So, because obviously this was years before I was born, and obviously years more since I've finally seen it, and I still felt that it was prevalent in what core messages it was trying to promote and share. And I really, really liked that. And that makes me more excited to go back to it over the next few years and further see things of, depending on what I'm going through in my time of life, different things are going to jump out to me. And I love when a movie's just completely timeless and impacts you in different ways throughout your life, no matter what you're dealing with. That's so cool for me. Those are my quick thoughts on The Breakfast Club being the first time watching it. I kind of want to make this a semi-regular series on the channel, especially right now considering there's no new movies coming out. We're coming up on the middle of June, so hopefully we're going to be getting some new movies soon, but I want to use this as a time to kind of look back on some classics that I haven't seen, other movies like maybe The Fight Club, stuff like that that I've not gotten around to seeing. So look to that coming soon. If you want to see videos like that, let me know down below. So, as always, thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. Make sure that you like it. I would appreciate that greatly. Subscribe if you have not already, and share it with someone who you know will enjoy it just as much as you did. Thanks again. I'll see ya in the next video.